All right, hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Mike Lindsley back with you here at Rosie's Corner, the official pizza and wing and ice cream shop of the ML Sports Platter. Make sure you get here if you're in and around Central New York. You're in town for the Syracuse Nationals. It's just a quick drive up 81, and of course, it's right off the Bartell Road exit. You take a quick turn up to Route 11. You take a right on 11 by McDonald's, and then it's right up in front of the Brewerton Bridge. They've got it all going on here. They've got Pork Wednesday. They have Fish Friday. They have their Monday cruise nights. They've got their Tuesday night social media ice cream promotion, and of course Taco Tuesday before that. So make sure you get on down here to Rosie's Corner, and of course pizza, wings, pasta, hot and cold subs, great desserts to go. They've got an array of appetizers as well. Get to Rosie's Corner, and when you're done, stop by for an ice cream right on the side of Rosie's as well for basically anything you can get. You can get your hard ice cream, your soft ice cream, your flurry, you name it. And during this hot and humid weather, it's great stuff right after a meal here at Rosie's Corner. Make sure you go like them on Facebook and follow them on Instagram as well. And they are available on Grubhub. Mariano Rivera. It was nobody like him before him, and there's going to be nobody after him, in my opinion. We're never going to see anybody like this guy. And, look, the one thing that a lot of people have said is, well, how is he the first unanimous player to get into the Hall of Fame? We've had Willie Mays. We've had Hank Aaron. We've had Ty Cobb. We've had Babe Ruth. We've had Honus Wagner. We've had Ken Griffey Jr. We've had Cal Ripken Jr. We've had Stan Musial. We've had Frank Robinson. We've had Jackie Robinson. We've had Randy Johnson, Greg Maddux, Walter Johnson, right? Like, how can any of those guys not have been unanimous? Ted Williams, Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle. Sure, you could make the argument that all those guys should have gotten in with 100% of the vote, but none of them did. And as the old saying goes, it only takes one. It only takes one bad apple to ruin the bunch. Well, in this particular case, it only took one for all those guys, and the list goes on and on and on and on, obviously, with Hall of Famers. But with Mariano Rivera, I kind of look at it like this. He was a unique pitcher. He was a unique player, and his story is unlike anyone as well. I mean, when you think about this guy coming from a fisherman town in Panama, an infielder slash starting pitcher type, turned into the greatest closer of all time on the biggest stage of them all in New York City, playing for the most famous franchise in the history of professional sports in the Yankees, doing it with one pitch. It's absolutely mind-boggling when you think about it. Using a milk carton for a glove when he was in Panama as well. It's mind-boggling. The story, I mean, what are the odds of this happening in the history of sports? These are very, very rare, unique circumstances. And so, therefore, I take the word unique and I pair it with unanimous, because nobody has Mariano Rivera's story. Only Mo does. Mariano Rivera's story is absolutely unique. And then when you think about the greatest closer of all time thing, he was a setup man, of course, and the Yankees didn't know what they wanted to do with him. 95, of course, they almost traded Mariano Rivera to Seattle for Felix Fermin, but luckily Gene Michael convinced George Steinbrenner and his idiots that you shouldn't trade this guy. Just give him time. All of a sudden, a year goes by, and his fastball goes up, and he starts dominating. He sets up for John Wetland. He pitches over 107 innings in 1996. He's striking out people left and right, and he saved the Yankees bacon in so many different ways in 96, helping the team to the World Championship. But when you look at it, he then became an assassin in the playoffs. I mean, this guy was the one guy who was at the back of the bullpen who every team in the playoffs, whether it was the Orioles, whether it was the Rangers, whether it was the Red Sox, whether it was the A's, whether it was the Mets, whether it was the Braves, whether it was the Padres, whether it was whoever, they didn't want to face Mariano Rivera at all. And hey, don't give the Yankees a lead, because that guy is back there. We got to deal with that guy back there. Enter Sandman. This guy was an absolute assassin in the playoffs. Look, it's one thing to have the ERA plus of 205. It's one thing to have almost 1,000 games finished. It is one thing to have 652 saves, which is the all-time lead in saves. But, when you go beyond that and you're even better in the playoffs, this guy had a .70 ERA. Think about that for just a second. A .70 ERA. Now, I know a lot of the old-school crusty guys like Goose Gossage, who I love, but, they rip on, it's only one inning. I mean, I used to pitch tons of innings. Well, hold on, take a time out. Mariano Rivera pitched multiple innings in 2003 Game 7, which helped lead to Aaron Boone getting a walk-off home run off of Tim Wakefield. What about all those multiple inning games in 1996? There were a bunch of times later in his career when he pitched multiple innings to save the Yankees bacon. So with Rivera, he actually put a ton of innings to it. I think he pitched over 1,200 innings for his entire career. And if you think about that 1996 season, 107 plus innings pitched, that's over half of what some starters can give you, and he did it as a reliever. So I know there's a lot of criticism that comes from Goose and some other people about the save in one inning, and it's ridiculous and all this sort of thing. But Rivera, he did it so well for so long, and he did have multiple inning games, and you can't poo-poo that. But this guy was that good in the postseason, .70 ERA, and of course he pitched to a tune of 8. Get ready for it, 0.00 ERA in 22 playoff series. That means he didn't allow a run in 22 postseason series. It's mind-boggling. I don't know how many rings the Yankees would have won without him, but I can tell you one thing right now, I don't think it would have been 5. Every team from 96 to 2000 during the Joe Torre Yankee dynasty years, and if you want to extend it to 2001 or you want to extend it to 2003, fine by me, because the Yankees ended up reaching the World Series. They won 2 more pennants but lost, of course, to the Diamondbacks and the Marlins respectively. But boy, if you look at Mariano Rivera and you take him away, I mean, what happens here? I mean, all the teams that the Yankees played, from all, the Padres to the Rangers, the Mets, the Orioles, the Red Sox, all the teams, the Braves that I mentioned throughout the postseason, a lot of those teams had really good players. I mean, the Braves had Chipper Jones, the Orioles had Cal Ripken Jr. and Palmeiro and some others. The Indians had some great players in Sandy Alomar and Kenny Lofton and Manny Ramirez and Jim Thome, who just recently went into the Hall of Fame. The Padres had Tony Gwynn. The Mets had Mike Piazza. A lot of teams had some really good starting pitchers. Glavine, Maddox, Smoltz for the Braves. You look at a lot of the other teams had some major starting pitchers, but nobody had Mariano Rivera. Even San Diego, an elite closer like Trevor Hoffman, he still wasn't even close to Mariano Rivera. And to think of Mariano Rivera's story, the uniqueness of it, coming from the fisherman town in Panama, infielder / starting pitcher turned into greatest closer of all time, milk carton used for a glove, using the cutter, his one pitch is all he used his entire career, and it came in differently all the time to batters. It's absolutely mind-blowing what Mariano Rivera did. He is absolutely, in my opinion, in a class all by himself because of the story, because of how he developed, because of how he almost got traded, how he became the greatest closer of all time, the story, the backstory back to his childhood, and of course handling it on the biggest stage of them all. I mean, there's not a lot of people who can handle New York City the way Mo Rivera did, and frankly the way Derek Jeter did. That's one thing that I crack up with, like, if you take a guy away from New York and he's somewhere else, it's going to be, he's not going to get as much accolades. He's not going to get this. He's not going to get that. Well, yeah, but if you take Derek Jeter away from New York and put him in Cincinnati, he might have just been a better man's Barry Larkin, which is still a Hall of Fame player. But in New York, he could have absolutely crumbled with the pressure. He didn't do that. Mariano Rivera didn't do that. Calm, cool, collected, dominant. Mariano Rivera, incredible career. I'm going to be going nuts when he takes the stage in Cooperstown. I'm covering the event tomorrow and Sunday. It's going to be amazing stuff. Unanimous, indeed. I'm Mike Lindsley. Thanks for watching 9 Minutes with me here on IGTV, YouTube, and Facebook. You can hit me on Twitter at Mike L Sports and go download and subscribe my podcast. Of course, it's called the ML Sports Platter, all over the major platforms. Make sure you download, subscribe, and leave some feedback and a 5-star review. We are here at Rosie's Corner. Come by, grab the pizza, grab the wings, grab the hot and cold subs, grab the ice cream after your meal. Rosie's Corner, they do an amazing job. They will deliver, and they're available on Grubhub as well. Like them on Facebook, follow them on Instagram, and get here for all their themed food days during the week as well. Tomorrow's Fish Friday with the coleslaw or mac and cheese. Thanks to Jason, Jody, and the gang for having me out. And as I always tell you, enjoy the games.